Welcome back, guys. In this video, we're going to be doing something a little different. It's going to be a coding challenge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be using Winter CMS to create a quoting function. This quoting function will generate this document. Let me just put it on the screen. It'll generate this document here. And I want to show you how easy it is to make something like this with Winter CMS and how to make it dynamic and versatile. So we're not going to be hard coding any of this data you're seeing here or any of the stuff you're seeing here. Everything here will be from the system, so it'll be dynamic. So let me just move that away. I will be using XAMPP. You can use WAMP or Laragon. And then I will be using PHP Storm. You can use Visual Studio Code if you want to. But I prefer this combination because it works well for me. First thing I need to do is I need to get Winter CMS. Let's download it. And then let's go to the installation. And then in here, as you can see, it wants you to have the requirements here, as you can see. Supported databases, PHP 8 and above. I am using PHP 8.2. Then I'm just going to download this Winter CMS file. Just wait for it to download there. Come into my downloads. Downloads folder. There it is there. And then I'm going to rename it. Oh, by the way, I'm racing against time here. I want to make this at least 1.5 hours. Extract, don't extract yet. I'm just going to rename it to quote project. And then after I've done that, okay, let's just wait for it. All right, that is a bit strange. Okay, after it's done naming, I'm going to take this, extract it here. Okay, now that's done, I'm going to copy this file, copy, take it to my XAMPP folder, which is in the C drive, XAMPP htdocs, paste it here. And then when I open this folder, I will have two. It's a file, install file, and install folder. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to XAMPP. I'm going to come to admin. And then in admin, I want to have the dashboard. Then I'm going to type here, quote project. It's going to show me the installation file. And then I'm going to install it here. It's going to show me the Winter CMS file. So I'm going to begin the compatibility checks. As you can see, it's going to show that I have all these things running here. I have PHP 8.212, and I have all the necessary PHP extensions, and I can connect to the CMS marketplace. And then next, I'm going to accept. And then configuration. Before I start the configuration, I need to create a database for my October CMS or Winter CMS site. So I'm going to come into here, MySQL, go into the PHP My Admin, and then in PHP My Admin, I'm going to create a database. I'm going to call this LearnDB, and then I'm going to create it, and then that's done for there. And then I'll come back into the installation or the setup, and then I'll name my site Learn. And then from there, I'll keep this code project site URL the same. And then I'll move on to the database configuration. I will name it root. And then the username is root. Password can be empty. And then I'll use my LearnDB here as the database. And then I'll move on into the administrative area. And then I'll do, let me just put my name. Username. Password, that's my little secret. And then email address, I'll just use my email address. And then we just change this to the right name. And then I'll begin final checks. Everything works out well. And then it'll begin installing Winter CMS. So as you know, Winter CMS is built on top of Laravel. If you've been following my channel for a while, then you have an idea of where exactly winter CMS came from. If you haven't, then it's basically a fork of another CMS called October, which has been here much longer than winter. But whatever you can do here, you can actually do in October CMS as well. So the difference between the two is that October CMS is not free, while winter CMS is. So you have to make your choices there. They both use the latest PHP 8.8, PHP 8. They both use PHP 8. They both use the latest Laravel. Although I think with October CMS, it has Tailor and winter CMS does not. Yeah, so depending on your preferences and what you want to accomplish, you can pick either one of the two. Since they're built on Laravel, whatever you can do on Laravel, you can do in winter CMS. And that includes Eloquent, relations, all that kind of stuff. But winter CMS actually streamlines it to make it much, much faster because it's focused on rapid application development. So because it's focused on rapid application development, there's a lot of things you can do much, much quicker using winter CMS than using Laravel. Of course, with Laravel, it's an all-around framework, whereas winter CMS is heavily focused on the Laravel structure. Okay, so now that we're done, we're going to view our backend to make sure that everything is fine. This is how you check that your installation worked. So let's see, my password. If you saw any errors coming into the backend, then you'll need to fix those before you can go any further. But everything's working fine here. Everything's looking good. I can go to my settings and I can see that everything is fine. Everything is fine there. So the next thing I need to do now is I need to come into my PHP Storm. In PHP Storm, I need to open the winter CMS project, which I named, let's just go in there. Although I'm not seeing it there now. Let me just go in here and see the code project. So if I go back there, I should be able to see. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Oh, I'm on the wrong path. So let me go into the right one, which is the C drive. And then in the C drive, I'm going to come to XAMPP. In XAMPP, I'm going to come into htdocs. And then in htdocs, I'll find the code project there. And then I will load it here. Let me just give it a moment to load the entire thing. As you can see, I can't edit anything until it's loaded the entire project with PHP Storm. So let me just give it some time. Let me just make this a little bigger there so that it's very visible to see for anyone. Okay, so I don't have to do most of the stuff here because I did the other way of installation, which is not using Composer. So next, because I can see everything's working there, I'm going to create a plugin. Winter CMS comes with its own default plugin. And then in that plugin, I am going to create a function or a feature that would give me access to create quotes. So I'm going to go to my terminal. And as you can see, my terminal, it looks like a Git bash because I set it up there beforehand. If you're curious on how I did it, you're free to ask. Now, I'm going to create PHP artisan create plugin for quotation. Is that the right way of spelling quotation? Let's make sure. Quotation. Looks like the right way. Looks like it is the right way. Wait, why is... I'm not interested in history. Sorry, guys. Just want to make sure that the grammar is correct. Okay, quotation marks, quotation. Yeah, that's right. So I'm just going to stop that there. Come back here. Let's continue on. So I'm going to name it quotation. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to create it. And then it's created there. Then I'm going to focus on creating the models and controllers. Artisan create model for quotation quote create that for me. And then I'll also create the controller as well. Controller as well. Create that for me. And then I will also create I'll also create the quote item. And then I'll also create the model for the quote item. And then afterwards, I'll also create the component for the quote. And I don't have to create the component for the quote item. Component. Quote. And then from there, I should have everything that I need to work with. So if I come in here, quote project. Strangely, plugins for I. And I'm not seeing my name here. I don't know if it's just a PHP thing. File generated. Model created successfully. So I don't get why I don't see it here. See code plugins. So if I come into here, plugins, yeah, I should be able to see my name. I do see my name. It's just not showing here. So let's see. Is there a way to refresh this? Let's close this project. Close the project. Start it again. And I still don't see why. HD. I definitely see my name here. XAMPP HD docs code project plugins for I quotation, and then I have the cool. Seems might be something wrong with PHP Storm. So let me close it, and then let me open it up again. Let me open it up here. Open with honestly, this has wasted a lot of my time. I don't know why PHP Storm is bugging now. Come on. Okay, it's reloading. And then if I go in here, I still don't see the project. I don't have to do that. So let me do this. CD plugins. Yep, it actually does see my name. CD. Oh, there it is. I don't know why that was an issue. That was very strange. Okay, let's continue on. Quotation. Okay, the next thing is we're going to create the migrations for that. So let's look at this document again. We have this. So we have, for the actual quote, we have the address, build to, ship to, quote number, quote date, PO. So these are the things that we need to add here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add all those things that we saw there. So the first thing I'm going to add is table, text, and then in there I'm going to add the address, which would be my address, and then table, text. Here I'll add build to, and then I'll add another one which is ship to. So say table text, and then I'll mark the shipped to, and then next one will be table, and then in here we don't need the quote date that I just saw, but we do need a PO. So string, and then in here we can say PO or PO number, just so we know that this is definitely a PO number. And then, next is, seems like that's all we need for now. But I do remember, if you check the document, I do remember that we have the quote items in the quote total. We don't really need that. We kind of need this though, terms and conditions. I think this is important, so let's add that as well. So it's gonna be table, and in there string, not string, text, terms, and then from there this doesn't seem correct. Let me see something. Okay, actually it is. Okay, never mind. And then after that, we will focus on the quote items now. So let's open this up. Let's focus on the quote items now. So we got quantity, description, unit price, amount. So this will be the quantity, description, unit price, and the total, which is fine. So now I'm going to create those in the quote items migration. And then I'm going to say table, integer, and then in there, I'm going to say, well, I could just mark it as QTI, as they've marked it. And then table, and then there, I will mark it as a text for the description. Okay. And then here in table, I would mark it as with the unit price. So it's going to be a decimal. And then I'll mark it here as unit price. And then that should be it for the base setup. So I can see there, I've put that there, put that there, and then I've got the items there. So these are calculated values, so we don't really need to focus on those in terms of creating fields for them. We can do it dynamically in the code. So next, now that I've done this, I need to actually focus on the migrations. So I can see that these already created migrations for me. So all I need to do is I need to say PHP artisan plugin refresh fry dot quotation, and then it's going to ask me to write this, which I don't have to, just copy and paste. Then it does the migration for me. And then the next thing I need to do is I need to make the plugins visible. So I need to come into the plugins here, first activate it. And then next, I need to add the right path to the controller. So we have quotations, and I'm going to be putting quotations to the quote controller. And then in here, I need to create a side menu. So I need to say side menu. And then in there, I need to create those boxes there with that array. And then in there, I need to call, if I say quote here, and then in quote, I need to call, incorrect, like that. And then just need to go down a bit so I can put the, like that. And then I will copy this, put it here. And then I will copy this, put it below, and change this to language package name, what, and then I'll change this to code item. And then I will change also this to code item. And then after I've done that, I should be able to see quote item in here. So if I do this, it should be visible there, quotation. If I click there, I should be able to see quote, quote, and then here I'll come into there just so that it doesn't look weird. Quote item, and then I'll say quote here. And then I will change the icon leaf to, what can I change it to? A quote, a quote, quote item is easy. I can just say list for that. Quote, what should I give quote? Let me see in my head. Well, I could say file, PDF, like that. I don't know. I mean, if what's necessary, I guess I could do that. Yeah, that's fine for now, at least. And then I can do the same. Let me just close this. I can do the same. Let's see. I can do the same here. Quote, quote, quote item. Take this icon here. Put it here. And that should be fine still. Yeah, that should be fine still. And then let me just change the name here because it's lowercase. So I'll say quotation. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. Now when somebody creates a quote, as you can see, the fields have nothing in them. What I need to do is I need to add those fields. Again, this is not a beginner course, so if you want to see how to add this stuff, stay tuned. If you want to see me explain the stuff, then stay tuned. So now I want to come in here to models, and then in quote, I'm going to copy what's in quotes here. These come to column, no, actually come to fields first. In fields, copy that there, that there, that there, PO number, that there as well, and terms, that there as well. And then I'll remove all of these here. I don't need them anymore. And now I will focus on the fields here. And then I'll say label, address, next type, text area. And then I'll take this, put it to build to, build to. Next, I will take this, put it down here, and then this will be shipped to, and then I will take this, put it here, but this is not a text area, so I will remove that. And then I will change this to that, and then I will say PO number here, PO number, and then I will take this, put it on the last one, because this is a text area for the terms and conditions. Terms and conditions. Okay, cool. Now I also need to span them. Span auto, span, actually before I even span auto them, I should take them to the other side. So it's copying this address, putting them on the column file. And then forget these ones. I'm more focused on the other ones. And then there, remove the text area. Remove the text area. Move it from here. Move it from here. And then come here, span them auto, span auto, come here as well, span auto, span auto, span auto, span auto. So when I come back here, refresh quick, I'll be able to see all these other fields here. When I go inside, I'll be able to see all these other fields here just fine. So the next thing is I need to do the same for quote item. And then in quote item, let's go to the quote items field. It's pretty much just 3 things. So no biggie there, no biggie at all. So take the quantity, take the description, and take the unit price. And then from there, I'll do that, label it, label it to QTI, and then same thing here, label it to description, and then label this to unit price. So copy this, take it to the other side, put it there, and then come back here, change this to type number, and change that to type number as well. Change that, actually no, it's description, so this will be actually tab text area, and then you can come back here, change this to type number. This is trig, by the way. And then I can span auto them, span auto, just copy that, paste it there, copy that, paste it there, and also copy that and paste it there. Actually, I don't have to see the ID, so what I can do is I can actually comment it out or remove it. I'll comment it out for now. And then when I come to the quote items, I'm able to see the fields there. When I go into quote item, I'm able to see the stuff there. So description, I think description can be on its own to make it look neater. So I'll just go to that, do that, remove the span auto. And then now when I refresh, it looks much neater. Okay, next thing is, now that I have that, I have to amend my migration so that I can make a relation with the quote item. So in this case, it's a one-to-many. One quote can have many quote items. One quote item can belong to one quote. So I need to come back into quote items here, and I need to make a reference to the quote by doing it like this, quote ID, and then after that saying nullable, then after that saying index. The reason we're saying index is because we want this to be really fast. And now that I'm done there, I need to do another plugin refresh. So what I can do is do the plugin refresh again, copy that, copy, paste, run it. It should have done the plugin refresh now, and then it will have added the relation there. Next thing is I need to add the relations into the actual models. So I need to come in here to quote, and then I need to come to quote to the has many relation here in October. And then in the has many, I need to reference it to quote items. And then when I'm referencing the quote item, I need to actually get the path to quote items. So to do that, I usually say, in PHP Storm anyway, you just say use quote item, and then I take this path, copy it, come in here and put it there, and just put that there first, and then put that there, and then I reference the key inside there, which is going to be it's going to be quote ID. And then the next, I need to do something similar to the quote items table, but in this case, I am referencing the actual quote that's in there. So the quote ID that's actually in the table. So I need to say belongs to, and then in here I will say quote, and then from there I will provide the path as well. So to make it easier for me, I can just copy this whole path here and then just change it to quote, because that's pretty much that. So I'm going to do that, change this to quote, And then I'm going to reference the key as well here. The key would be that, and the key would be quote ID. And then now that I'm done there, I need to actually set up the relation between the quote and quote ID. This is not done. You're not done setting up just because you did this. So the next thing I need to do is I need to come into quotes, the controller of quotes. And in the controller of quotes, I need to activate the relation controller here. So I'm going to copy this, double it there, and then instead of list controller here, I will change it to relation controller. And then once I change it to relation controller, I need to use the relation config. There's a relation, or at this point, I think it's public relation config. I'm not sure if that is the right way of putting it. I'll have to check. So I'm going to check really quickly on the Winter CMS site. So I'm going to go to Winter CMS relation. And then when I do that, I'm going to come to backend relations. And then I'm just going to check here how it's a relationship config. Then that's how you spell it. So I'm just going to copy that from the Winter CMS site, quickly put it here. Just take that example, quickly put it here and manipulate this to config relation. And then I'll create a file with this there. So I'll come into the controller, come in here to quote, and then I'll create new file. And then in the new file, I'll say config relation YML. And then in there, I will reference the relation that I created. There has many relations I created, which you can see in the documentation here, but I'll just be copying this just to make things faster for me. And then I'll come here to the config relation, come in here, change this to quote items, and then change this to quote items as well. Quote items, and then change this path to where the quote items field and column YMLs are. So it's that quotation models quote items or quote item. Copy this part, put it here, and change this to the fields YML. And then when still not done yet, still got a few things to do. Okay, so now that I've done this, I need to call the relation render. So I need to create another file here. And in that file, I will need to name it quote items HTM. And then once I've done naming it quote items HTM, once I've done naming it quote items HTM, I will need to reference the relation render here. PHP. No, we don't have to do PHP here. I can do this relation. Actually, if I think about it though, I don't think that we have to. I think if I use the PHP way of doing it, let me see something. Yeah. No, let me not create this kind of file. Let me remove it. Because that's the way I used to create it before Winter CMS changed up some stuff for PHP 8.2. So let me remove this file, which actually makes things a whole lot better and more fun. Nice. Okay, I'm going to remove this file here, and then I'm going to create a PHP file, and then I'm going to name that file quote items PHP, and then in there I'm going to reference this in here, relation render. I just want to see if this will work. And then in there I will name quote items as the relationship that's been rendered. And then now when I come into my let's see, this is in quote items, this relation render quote items. And if I go into the config relation, it is quote items. If I go into the models where I declared it, it is quote items. So let's just make sure that everything is spelled correctly and I did not misspell something while I was doing this. Seems like everything is fine. And then next, or the last step is I'm going to go to quote fields, and field, I'm going to mention quote items, not really in this way. I can, it's fine, not an issue. And then label, and then there I'm going to say quote items, and then I'm going to say type partial, and then I'm going to reference the quote items file that I created, and then I'm going to say path, and then here I'm going to say fry quotation, and in quotation we have controllers, and in controllers we have quote, and in quote we have our quote items.php. So I'm just going to see if this actually works. So I'm going to go back to that, refresh it, go inside, and then see if there's a relation there. Okay, the relation did not work. So what I need to do in this case is I will need to change up this. Instead of a refactory name PHP file, I'm going to change it up to an HTML file, and then I'll refactor, do the refactor, and then yeah, oh nice, very dynamic, change it to an HTML file. Okay, so now that it's like this, let's see if the reference actually works. Okay, still no reference for some reason. So I'm going to go back down to the fields. In here, let's see. We have foray, quotation, controllers, quote items, which I can see there. Why is it not referencing it? Unless, let me just do this quick. Just going to do this. See if it actually can see it. It can. It's just not getting that relation render. So let's do this. This dot relation render quote items. There we go. And then now I'm curious. Let me change this back to PHP. Let me see if it actually work. So I'm going to change this back to PHP. Refactor, do the refactor, yes. And then let's see if it actually works. Oh, that is so nice. That is so nice. Perfect. It works like a charm. Okay. So now that I've created my relationship with this quote item here, I can create a product very easily. And then I can create the billing very easily. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this document as an example. Let's do it. Let's create the billing. So the billing is, okay, billing address. Okay, actually, this is a company name here. So I am definitely missing that. So what I need to do is I need to come back, go into my folder, come in here, create that company name, and then say string company name, and then that should be that. As you can see, I'm working out pretty fast with Winter CMS. And then I'll do a refresh. Just copy that, paste it there, all good to go. And then when I refresh this page, oh, right, did not add the company name as a field. So I'm going to come back to the quotes field, come in here. Before build address, I need to have company name, so label. And then in there, I'm going to have company name. And then even here, I can just copy that, put it here, and I'll have another company name, no problem. And then here, when I refresh, I'll have company name. Forgot to span auto. Span auto. And then now that I refresh, yeah, I should have, although it's a bit unneat, so let me do this to make it better. Let's use the two texts or the two text boxes next to each other so that, yeah, it follows. It's much neater like that because I didn't like the way it looked there, the design. Okay, so now that I've got this, let's do what we were supposed to do in the beginning. And then let's put the company name there. It's East Repair Inc. So I'm going to say East Repair Inc. And then I'm going to, let me just come back to that. I'm just going to put this away for a bit on the second screen so I can just do the stuff dynamically or much faster. So I'm going to say the pure number in this case is 2312 slash 2019. Okay, strange pure number, but okay. Address, that'll be my address, is going to be 1912 Harville Lane. Sounds like something you find in a Harry Potter movie. Okay, next Lane, and then New York, and then go to NY, and then 122 like that. And then the next address is build to would be to John Smith. Hello, Mr. Smith. And then to Court Square. And then New York as well. Man, New York City is vibing. Oops, sorry. New York City is vibing. New York as well. And then NY 122110. And then the next thing is ship to is going to be John Smith. You're pretty popular, Mr. Smith. And then 3787 Pine View, and then Divine Pineview. Oh, it's Drive, Pineview Drive, and then Cambridge, MA 122110, and then terms and conditions here. In terms of terms and conditions, payment is due within 15 days. And then let's go for another one here. Please make checks payable to, and that'll be the company name here. Just copy this whole thing. That's all I need to do. So let me just get this. East what? Yeah, I think that's good enough for me. So the next thing is I'm going to save this first. And let me just save this. Everything's fine there. So when I go into this side, I have all the details here. And then when I come back here, the records are all set. So now I need to add the quote items. Quote item equals 1. And that's the quantities. Okay, 1 unit price is 100, and what it actually is a front and rear brake cable, or brake cables. Front and rear brake cables created. We got front and rear brake cables. Cool. Now let's continue on. The next item would be quantity 2. Unit price is 18. And then here is going to be new set of pedal or new set of pedals, pedal arms. And then I'm going to save that. Next one is going to be labor. So it's going to be 3. It's going to be 5. Labor 3 hours. Save that as well. And then now we have our quote items, and then they are saved. So if I refresh this page, they have automatically been saved to the quote items here. So if I go to quote items, you will see we have the 3 records which are attached to this quote. So perfect. We're going good so far, and we're saving a lot of time. So the next thing I need to do now is I need to allow or I need to create from this data. I need to create this document. So now it's going to be a bit tricky, but I need to create this document. And the first thing I need to do is I need to add dynamic PDF. So I'm going to do a winter CMS dynamic PDF. And then in here, get the PDF. As you can see, I'm on October CMS. Like I mentioned before, October CMS is very similar. So I'm going to go to the documentation, installation, get this composer require, go back to my PHP store, come into here, create a new instance of the terminal, and then install the dynamic PDF plugin. I'll just wait a bit until the plugin has been installed. This can take some time, so don't worry about it. It just depends on how fast your computer is and how fast your internet is. So it's almost done. Just gotta wait a bit. Almost there. Come on, you got this. Come on. You got it. There we go. So I've installed version 6 of Dynamic PDF plugin. We're good to go. So now next we need to create a view. No, actually not even a view. What we need to do is we need to create a route in our quotation here. So I'm going to create a new file, and then I'm going to name that file routes, and then that's going to be routes PHP. And then, oh, apologies, my brother just walked into my room. Okay, so let's continue on with the route. I was setting it up, so let's go to router service. Okay, so I typed in winter CMS routes, and then in there I'll get the router service, and then here I'll just copy that, put it here. Well, first I have to activate the PHP, and then put it here as a route, get that. So if I were to go to, let's say for example, the path of foo, and then I were to go to this path here. If I went to here, and then I said foo instead of anything else there, I should get a hello world. That means the route is working. So now I need to set up the download feature. Okay, let's come back to PHP Storm, and then here I need to set up the download feature. How I do that is I'm going to take this route, and then I'm going to first create the view. So let me create the view first. I'm going to say, in this case, I'm creating a folder called view. So I'm going to come there, directory, views, and then in there I'm going to create a file, an HTML file called PDF quote download. If you notice that my voice is a bit lower, then it's because I changed my mic settings. It was capturing way too much noise. HTML, and then that I have the HTML file. Perfect. That'll be the view. And then the next thing I need to add is in the routes, I need to add a reference to the dynamic PDF plugin that we just installed by Composer. So I need to say use, and in use I need to say, I can type PDF, it will reference me to the right one. That'll be the right reference. And then in there I need to reference to the backend and backend, it can be any path. I'm just using backend to simplify it for myself. And then I'll say for I backend for I quotation quote download, and then in here I will reference the ID of that quote, and then I will call the ID here in the function, and then in there I will reference the quote object here. So I'll say quote, and in this case I'll be looking for quote, the quote model. Well, you don't have to reference it like this, so I'm just going to be taking this, putting it here, use my name there, and then I can just say quote here, it'll reference that for me, and then I'll say find, which basically means look for the ID, find ID, and then I will say PDF equals PDF load view. So we're looking for not load file, load view, and in load view we will need to actually have the view there, so that'll be my name quotation, and then the view name, which is PDF quote download. And then after that we need to apply the variable or the object that we just created there. Can make it neater, so I'm just going to put the squares for the array, and then I'll say in here the quote that will be injected into the view, we will reference the quote object we just declared. Okay, now that we have that, and then to preview the document before someone can download it, we're going to allow somebody to preview the stream basically. So I'm going to say return PDF, and then in here set paper, and then in there I'm going to say it's going to be an A4, and then in there we return stream, the file name for the stream, let's say it is going to be quote document.pdf, and then that should be that. Okay, actually let me just to make sure that we don't have any possible errors, so it's quote document.pdf. That should be that in the setup of the route. Now I'm going to take this route, and then I'm going to come into the controllers. In controllers, I'm going to go into quote. In quote, I'm going to come into update, and then in update, I'm going to create a new button here. So the button will be located. Let's say the button is located right here. So I'm going to say, actually it's going to be an anchor, and then the anchor will have a class of btn primary, and it will pull right. You'll see what I mean in a second. And then we'll have the href, which is our path. And then in that path, we're going to mention in this case, form model. And in the form model, we're going to capture the ID. And then from there, in this case, we don't have to declare it in the quotations. It's fine if we do it here. Or maybe it might be better that we do declare it in the quotations. Nah. For now, I'll keep it there. If it gives an error, then we'll see. So now form model, and then when I go to my quote, let's go back here because this is where we are. When I go into my quote and then I come here, you'll see I have that there. So now I actually need to name the button because I didn't name it. That button will be download PDF. And then when I click the download PDF, we have that download PDF button. And if you see the path, we're supposed to be seeing a ID number for this quote here. So since we're not seeing an ID number, I'm just going to come back here, take this form ID, put it in here, and then see if we actually get the number now. So if I come back here, I actually get the number now, as you can see by the path there. So now that I can get the number, it's much easier for me to do. So if I click download, it's going to take me to that link or preview. I don't want to click download yet. I want to target a new page. So I'm going to say target, and then I'm going to say blank. And then when I refresh the page, click that, try to download, it'll open a new page. It'll say that the file is not found, which is perfectly fine because we're not there yet. So I got the download, I got the quote for backend, all that stuff. That's perfectly fine. Now the next thing that I need to do is I need to actually, I need to fix this first before we even actually get there. So I know that the route is working. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to make the route work for a particular path. So since backend, quote, download, all that stuff doesn't work because it's supposed to be loading an A4 code document stream. And if I were to say, remove all this stuff, and then let's see if I return hello. Let us see if it actually does anything. It doesn't show us that. Okay, it's still gonna show us that. And then looks like I can't use that backend path because it's just gonna give me an error. So what I can do is I can say this, I can say quote, and then I can say download, and then from there I can say ID, and then from here I could probably do the same on the other side. Come to update, change the path to quote, and then there will be like that. And then when I load this, it should point to quote download. If I click there, it's still going to give me that issue there. I think to rectify that, I am missing something. So let me reverse this. Let's go back here, reverse this. Honestly, I think I'm missing the document name, PDF. And then let me come back here to quote, and then let me do the same here. P.pdf. So that when I come back here, reload, show this, I should see a PDF. The request was not found on this server. Interesting. We have an issue here. So let me see, localhost. So this would have worked on live, but on localhost, I actually have to specify that like that. Otherwise, it won't work. So I actually have to put the project name and then all that stuff. Otherwise, it won't work on the development environment. So even here, I got to specify it like that so that when I do, let's reload, and then I actually do the download, it actually still on that page. Couldn't find it, but looks like I'm closer to the solution. Looks like I'm much closer to the solution now. So let's see. We have that, we have that, we have that. And then let me just remove this update here so I can be next to the routes. And then let's see, we have that. We have that as well. So if we're going to the path, basically it's localhost project, quote project backend for our quotations, download one PDF. If we're going to that path, and then I come here, let's see. Again, I have to see if this is not returning anything, like hello world. Just making sure that it's returning what it needs to. And then come here. Okay, it didn't find it. So what I can do is, in this case, I can, because I'm on the backend quotation download, limit this to that. Take that, go to the document, and in the document, limit this as well. And then let's see if we do get a response from the route now. Okay, still a problem. Cannot find. Why can't you find it? The routes is there, and I did see it work. Route. Okay, so let me go with this. Route any. And then when I refresh, try to download. Still an issue. Let's see what's going on. What's wrong? Quote for our quotations, quote. Managed to get the ID. Proven to be quite tricky now. Localhost, and it has mostly to do with this. Download 1px. What if let's see, if I excluded this, let's say I excluded this, and then I was just using foo. So let's say I excluded this, I just using foo. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what the problem is, because when I was just using foo, was I using foo here? Yes, I was. That's right. So I think I know what the problem is. The problem was the way it was being referenced. So here, I shouldn't have bothered with this. I should have said that. And then in updates, I should have kept it like this. So here I shouldn't have bothered. In updates, I should have. So now let me come back to here. Let me refresh. And then let me say download. And then now the hello world is working. So, okay. So it was just basically how I was referencing it. And it gets confusing because of the whole project name thing. So on PHP Storm, luckily I have a local history, and in local history, I can see all my changes. So I can take these things back and put them there so I can continue on. And then now that I've done that, when I refresh this page, I should be able to see the PDF document. Perfect. Now we're on the right path. We're getting to the end of the tunnel now. Next thing is need to okay, let's continue on. All right, we're at the end of the tunnel here. So now we got the document up there. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to make it look very similar to this here. So the first thing that I'm thinking about off the bat is the HTML format here. So I can see that there's going to be that. So I won't make it look exactly like this, but I'll make it look very similar. The first thing that I need to do is I need to go into the views file. In the views file, I need to set up first the table for the items. So I'm going to say in the table, it's going to look like that. Let me just move it to the next screen. In the table, we're going to have two things. We're going to have the quote total. So I'm going to say table, and then in table, we're going to have two. So it's th head. Let's see, th head, tr, th, and then this th will have a call span of 4, and then this th will be, actually no, it will have a call span of 2. Then this will be quote total, and then the last th there will be the actual total. So I'm going to just come here and say well, total. It's a placeholder for now. We're going to come back and fix that, and then I'm going to create a new tr. Actually, we don't have to. Let's be smart. This is perfectly fine here, and we can be done with this. And then let's go into the t-body, and in there, t-body, we're going to have tr, and then in tr, we're going to have td. So this is where I'm actually going to put those headers that we're going to see. So it's going to be QTY, description, unit price, and amount. We'll just see how it looks like. And then kind of copy this, put it by itself, and then here is where I'm actually going to be using the variable that we created on the other side. The variable we created here in the roots, this one here. So it's going to be quote. So I'm going to say here, using twig, for item in quote, and then in there, I will get the quote adjunct or the quote object. Actually, at this point, we don't actually have to loop because we're only getting a quote dependent on the ID. So it's only going to be one object. So I don't have to loop here. I can literally just call the quote by name. So I'm going to be doing twig here. I'm going to say quote. Oh, wait, actually, I'm wrong. These are the quote items. So yes, I do definitely have to loop. So it's going to be quote dot quote items, and then let me end that for each, and for, and then in here, come back here, I'm going to say item, and then in here, use twig, and basically say item, and then the item QTY, you know, the stuff that we declared earlier. Here as well, it's going to be item dot description. Next one here is going to be item dot unit price. Next one is going to be item dot, well, not really item dot, but at this point we can actually do some calculations. So it's going to be item dot unit price times item dot QTY, because we never made a total amount for items, so we can do it here. And then if I refresh this document, you can see that it's actually getting us what we want. Now, isn't that looking fantastic? To get the total of the entire quote to show here, we're going to say, using twig, quote dot item dot sum, and then we're going to be summing the amounts. It's basically summing the amounts, although at this point I think we need to do a little bit more than that, because the amounts lead to a total, but we do have quantities as well. So I think we should be smarter with this one here. Yeah, let's be smarter with this one here. For now, let's leave it like that. We're going to do our calculations just now, but for now we'll leave it like that. And then I'm going to be focusing on just aligning this table. So I'm just going to be saying there on a table, class table, well, I won't say table. I guess I can say table responsive. It's fine. Let's refresh. Okay, it hasn't aligned the table as of yet. Okay, so table responsive didn't work. And I think that is because there is no bootstrap referenced. So let me just see with that. Let me say table hover. And then let's see if there's any difference. No. Oh, there was some sort of difference. Let me see. Nah, there was none. There was no difference. So I think at this point, what I need to do is I need to actually import HTML. So I'm way too lazy to do that on my own. So I'm going to come into vendor. No, actually not vendor. I'm going to go to themes, layouts. In layouts, this is a default layout. And then I'll just take this HTML code. Take this HTML code. Well, not exactly like this. Actually, it's not a good idea to take it like this. But okay, so let me just fix it up. I'll take it like that, put it here, body, and then close the body, close the HTML, and then remove all of this stuff here, the meta and all that stuff. Remove all that. Let's reference Bootstrap. So I'm going to be referencing Bootstrap 4, Bootstrap 4 CDN. Bootstrap 5 is here, but well, I guess I can reference it. I don't think it's a problem. So I'll just copy that, come into the HTML, come in here, reference it here, and then remove that reference here because it's not worth it, and remove style here, not worth it either. And then now that I've referenced that, I think I might have to reference the JavaScript as well. Require the use of JavaScript to function. Although this is just a document download, so I think I only need the CSS. So let's see if I refresh this. Okay, it did something to the cell function. Let me see here. That reference definitely did something. So I'm gonna go here and say table, and then in here trtd. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong here. Wait, yeah, body's there, head is there. So why are we having an error? Okay, much better, I guess. All right, so now that we reference the bootstrap, it's looking a little bit better. And then now I want to use the other stuff like the address and stuff like that here as well. So as you can see, it's getting there. It's not there yet. It's getting there. So what I need to do now is I need to create a space for the addresses as well, and I think I will use tables to accomplish that too. So I'm going to say table here, table, and then this time I know I'm not going to loop. So it's going to be tr td, and then through this I will be able to create or show 4 sections, which is going to be the build2. So in here I need to create 2 rows. One will be the header, one will be the actual. So it's going to be build, in this case, build2, and then this is going to be ship2, and then this is going to be quote number, and then this is going to be well, I think these are following some kind of format. So quote number actually is a proper reference. So let me come back to this one for now, and then let me just see if, oh, actually I need to actually put values here, otherwise it's going to error out. So next I'm going to say here quote dot build2, and then I will say quote dot ship2, and then here it won't necessarily be the quote number. Here would actually be the quote date. So here I actually have to put the quote date like so. And then here I'll put the quote date soon. So now let me see how it looks like. Build2. Okay. It didn't get anything from the quote variable, so I want to see why not. And then here I need to take it to a class table. Table border, table condensed. Nah. Yeah, we can go over that for now. So I'm just going to do that so that it's, yeah, like that. Ship2, quote date. And then next is finding out why it's not showing the build2. So let me go into the models so I can see what I actually named it. Models, actually not models, here and then here. And then build2, shipped to PO number. That's what I did. So here it's actually build2. And then let's see what this is. Shipped to, and come here. So now I'm getting what I wanted there. Build2, shipped to. That's perfectly fine. And then quote date would be quote dot created at, that's automatic date by went to CMS. Quote number will be quote, in this case I will say ID, so it's going to be quote US ID, so it's going to be 00 here. In this case it's going to be quote US ID. The quote date is that. And then lastly but not least, the PO number. And the PO number can come into the TD since it seems like it's on the same PO. So it's going to be that. It's going to be BR PO, and it's going to be the same here. And it's going to be the same here. BR. And then here it's going to be quote dot PO number. I'm going to refresh. Looking much more like what you see here. Although this date is not really showing me the date. It's mostly showing me the time, it seems. If I see here quote date, actually it is showing me the date and time. So let's see if I can fix that format. See if I can fix that format. Okay. Pure number created at here. Let's say date. Let's see if we can say here, in order for it to be a date, it's going to be YMD. And then let's see if that fixes that. And then that does fix that, but then it moves the PO number above. So I want the date on one line, the quote date on one line. So in this case, we can focus on fixing that later. The next thing is on this document is but as you can see, what we're doing right now is it's very easy to actually get the data and work with it. So the next thing is it's here. This should be company name and company name and address. So I'm going to come in here, do another table, and then in this table TR TD, and then in here I will say quote company name, and then in here I will say quote address. And then, of course, same thing here, say table. And then when I'm done there, we have that. And then what I should have done was put this in another row. So create another row, put that there. And then it should be on the same line like that. Okay. As you can see, it's getting closer and closer to what we want here. Okay, we're looking at the terms and conditions, which are very low. So in this case, terms and conditions, we will do another table, but we're going to be adding a little more to that table. So it's going to be TR TD, and it's going to be another TR TD. And then here it's going to say terms and conditions. And in here as well, it's going to be quote dot terms. And then, of course, class table. But we're not done there. I'm going to say style position. And then, oh no, not position, sorry. I want to give it a padding. Oh, style padding. And padding, I'm going to say 50px. So when I refresh, it's going to be there. Terms and conditions are there. In this case, with the document, the terms and conditions are not on one line. So since they're not on one line, please make sure it's payable. If I go into my edit quote, I can see they're like that. So let me come here, and then in here, I'm just going to say raw. And then now when I do this, okay, still hasn't changed. Okay, that's fine, but I'll keep the raw there. The next thing, I mean, we're pretty much done with the default layout. It's just we're missing the signature and all that stuff. But honestly, I think I've reached my limit with this challenge. It's been taking a huge toll on me, so I think I'll end it here for now when it comes to here. But I hope that you've learned something from this, and I hope that you see the things that you can do with Winter CMS. I'll take on other more challenging stuff later on, and I hope that you're in for the ride. Thanks for watching. See you next time.